Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest right now. We got a little bit of snow and I've been loving it. Today, we're going to be talking about Lost Ark, and I'm going to just go over my broad feelings about it. It's been out for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and I feel like a lot of people have either been, rushing the game, burning out, or they've been waiting for all the hype to die down. So we're going to talk about the game, kind of where I'm at in the game, how I'm enjoying it. I am kind of beginning my journey through endgame right now. And we're going to really ask the question, is this a casual friendly game? Because there's a lot of news out there saying otherwise. So let's go ahead and dig in. So first off, probably the biggest question of all, right, is do you enjoy the game? And I have been enjoying the game, and I've been playing the game in a very casual way. Currently, I'm at about item level, you can see here if I pull it up, about item level 450, which is not the furthest item level in the game. It's actually pretty early on in the end game cycle, but I've pretty much experienced most of what the end game is going to offer, and I feel like I have a good feel of what the kind of gameplay loop is going to be like. Now, there are lots of people kind of approaching this game and saying, well, to be an end game, you're going to have 4 characters. And the reason they're saying that is because a lot of the end game content, you can actually funnel materials with alts to your main character. And a lot of people have been doing that because they want to be, for whatever reason, they want to race to the top tier gear score and be at the very top of the PvE game. And that's great if you want to race to the end and do that. But honestly, I've had one character, I'm gearing up, relatively slowly over time. And honestly, I feel like you don't need to do that. I feel like you don't need to rush the game. And I think you can just enjoy the game slowly over time. There is a lot in this game. There's a lot of collectibles, there's a lot of islands, there's a lot of things to do. Just to go over the collectibles real quick, we literally have thousands of Makoko seeds that you can find, and each of these Makoko seeds on this map are like a different region in the game. You can go and explore all of these regions. These regions have different islands. There's islands in the ocean. You can sail to all of these different islands, and some of them have dungeons, some of them have bosses, some of them have co-op events, some of them are timed events only. And literally at the point that I'm in at the game, I haven't even gone to the western side of the continents yet. Like, I put, hundreds of hours into this game, and I haven't even begun my journey to go to the western side of the continent. So there is a lot to do in this game, and you don't need to rush to get to the end because there's so much to do. If you rush yourself, get to the end, what you're going to find out is, well, now the game's going to be going to, 100 different islands for, 50 hours. That's no fun. Open it up, explore as you go. There's lots of things to find. You can find, just to show you guys here, Makoko seeds. Each island has an island token, so you can collect island tokens. All the collectibles have rewards that you can have access to. You can collect giants hearts, which are like special event hearts, which also give rewards, right? You have omnium stars, you have masterpieces to collect. You have Ignia tokens for 100%ing zones. You have world leaf tea fragments or tree leaf fragments to get, while you're doing the gathering in the game. And you have sea bounties, which, sea bounties are very reminiscent of, you get the map and then you go to like a vista from Final Fantasy 14. So all of this stuff is going on. And I feel like a lot of the player base is just sending the message out there that, in order to play this game, you have to rush through the story. You have to get to the end, and then you have to work on your gear score with 4 different alts. And, that's not the case at all. If you take it slow, if you build up, kind of your account, if you almost like build the foundations really solid and just kind of build from there, you're not really going to find a need to rush. And probably another one of the bigger criticisms of this game is that it's compared a lot to Diablo 2. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, in Diablo, I run through the main story the first time, and then I don't want to play the game because I don't want to run through the main act, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, right? Because you're running from act 1 through 5 on like different levels of difficulty. And that's not what we have here. What we have is, you know, a massive world where running, like literally by the point you're at endgame, you're not even halfway through the world. You have such a bountiful world that if you're someone like me who kind of looks at everything as a whole, like it's very overwhelming. It's very overwhelming, the amount of things that are in this game. It's very overwhelming, you know, the amount of things you can do. You can find yourself going down a rabbit hole, which I love. I love doing that, but it's also like there is a lot to do, and the game is much more than just make 4 alts, level up to the end, and kind of call it there, right? And I think there's a lot of people who kind of brand it that way. Another thing that I really love is the combat system is very flexible. If I, for example, didn't want to run this ability or I wanted to run another ability, I could literally just take the points out whenever I want. If I'm in the field, I don't have to go to a character. I don't have to go do anything special. And I can respec into a different build relatively easily. I can test out all of my different abilities. The abilities feel good when you're hitting monsters, right? So when you hit a monster, it literally feels like, you know, oh man, that monster is getting hit hard. You know, a lot of people talk about FPS games, and when they talk about FPS games, they talk about how it feels to use an FPS weapon. Well, this game is literally like how it feels to use your character chunking the monsters, right? You know, when you hit them, there's blood splatter, the enemy's stunned. It just feels like you're doing something in the world and killing hordes and hordes of enemies. It's such a great feeling. I love it. And, you know, even when you hit level 50 and you're kind of progressing through the game, you have access to skill runes that you can set. I haven't gotten a ton of them yet, but you'll be able to access skill runes and put runes on. And then even further on, you'll get gems and you'll be able to access gems. And then even on top of that, you have systems like the engraving system, which can be a little bit, it can be a little bit difficult to comprehend in the beginning of the game, but they roll it out slowly for you. But basically you have all of these different abilities that you can invest points in. You have one for your class as well. And then on your character screen, you can actually see you can actually slot 2 of them. So I can slot 2 of them, and then on my accessories, I kind of get like this one has max MP up. So I would go to my engravings and you can see I have max MP up 2 nodes here, but it's not level 1. So it's almost like when you are assembling your combat capabilities, you're kind of looking at what's in your gear, you're looking what's in your, you know, gems or your sockets or, you know, whatever you want to call them. You're putting everything in, you're equipping the different engravings, and you're trying to max out your character. So I really love that. I love the idea of like there's RNG aspects, but there's also non-RNG aspects as well. So like if I wanted to have, for example, let's say I wanted to have adrenaline right here, no matter what, I could slot to adrenaline. So no matter what the RNG was on my rolls, I would be able to have adrenaline as one of my passive abilities. And some of these passive abilities do change how the game plays. And they also have negatives as well. So some of them might be like boss damage increase 20%, and then like it reduces the healing that you receive, right? It's a really powerful trade-off. So there's just a lot of things in here that can suck you in. And then on top of all of this, you do have a store, which is relatively does give you an advantage, but you don't need to spend excessively. You also have cards on top of all of this, where you can set 6 different cards for a different effect. You have different sets on each of the cards, and you need to like pull dupes, max out the cards, get the right setup to view status effects. Like right now I have earth damage reduction +8, all elemental damage reduction +2, and then with that there comes the book. So as you collect all of these all of these cards, you're going to get enhanced stats. So if I collected 10 cards from this set, I would get bonus versus humanoids plus 0.13, which is crazy. Like 0.13 doesn't sound like a lot, right? But when you are stacking these bonuses over the course of all of these cards that you are collecting and getting and constantly kind of exposed into the world, it becomes quite a bit. It becomes a min-maxer's almost like wet dream, you guys. Like this is a game where, you know, if you liked older more punishing traditional RPG MMOs, this is that type of a game. This is one of those games where, you know, you're going to get hurt a little bit. You're not going to be able to run into end game and be incredibly powerful. You're going to have to get some friends. You're going to have to do, you know, networking. You have to join a guild. You're going to have to do things that normally would not necessarily nowadays in MMOs be considered normal, I guess. You also have access to a stronghold, which I know a lot of people probably care about as well. This is one of my favorite aspects of the game. It's very reminiscent of the Ni no Kuni kingdom management type of style, where you have a certain amount of energy and you're investing and growing in your you know, area. You can see here it has some awesome statues, so I've been working on 100%ing a couple of zones in the early part of the game. So you can see here it takes a while to load because it's so goddamn huge, but I do have a very beautiful statue here that I got for getting 90% in the Anika region, which I have a video on. And then I just did Udia recently at 90%, and you can see I have this giant ass fountain right here that I got. So being able to customize kind of your area, and you can see here when I pull up the mini map, it's huge. You have research, you have a farm, you have, you know, a large area where you can place things. If I just go to the placement here real quick, oh, I actually have another statue I could place. So I have a lion statue I could place right here. So I'll do that. And I also have a small style fountain I could place as well. So we're just gonna throw that down over here. But it's really fun. I enjoy it. It's very fun to build. You of course have like expeditions you can send people on, and it's really just a fun way to, you know, people can visit it, so you can have other people meet here. You can create a feast so that other players can eat here. So like, if you're doing a raid with a group of people, they can all meet at your stronghold. They can eat the food to get a unique food buff, which is usually a weapon damage up buff. And then you guys can go and do the raid together. There's just lots of really cool small details like this. Like literally, this video is not doing justice to the amount of detail, the amount of attention in this game that they have, the amount of things you can do. And if there's one message I really want to get out there to people, you know, it's okay to play this game casually. You do not need to rush to the end. You do not need to have 4 characters. That is a huge misconception. Absolutely, that would help you if you are wanting to rush to like the top tier item level. But you can have fun with this game. You don't have to push hard. You don't have to go hard. This is a game I've been enjoying in my off time. I've been having fun with it. And I think most of you guys could too. And you guys have probably gotten that vibe by watching me stream and by watching me play it as well. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. I probably won't be streaming Lost Ark much over the next couple of days because we do have Elden Ring coming out. But I guarantee you I will still be playing it. Catch you guys next time, and have a great rest of your day.